Hey guys, it's Joe again from Grindhouse Grotto, and today I'm bringing you an unboxing. So I picked up some stuff online that I've been really wanting to get. So I got two different boxes, two different orders. The first one is basically a movie with a poster that I've been really wanting, so I'm just going to get right into it and open it up. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Put that to the side real quick. And both these shipments I ordered on Amazon. I'm sorry, eBay. Now this is something that I've been really wanting for a long time. I'm not really too big on getting sleeves for Blu-rays, but this is one of my favorite childhood movies, so I spent a lot more money than I really wanted to, but it's okay because I wanted to have it with the sleeve. Like I said, it's one of my favorite movies. And I am so freaking excited to get it, and it is sealed, which is always nice. You ready for this? People Under the Stairs, collector's edition from Scream Factory. This is one of my favorite movies as a kid growing up. I just remember seeing it all the time on USA and TBS late at night. I'm super excited to add this to my collection. I've got the DVD version of it, but I waited for a long time. There's just a lot of stuff that collector's editions of other things that I wanted to buy, and I already had it on DVD. So I was kind of happy with the DVD, but then I kept on seeing it popping up on Amazon. I was like, gotta have this. By the time that I actually got around to wanting to buy it, you can't find it anywhere anymore without with the sleeve. So yep, pick that up off of eBay, and it also came with the poster as well. Let's take a look at that. So it is has a little bit of wear, it looks like, but it's not that really big of a deal to me. Still looks really good. It's in really good shape. The person that owned it prior to this kept it in really good shape. And like I said, this is still sealed with the sleeve and the poster. I paid $50 for it, and I buy it now on eBay. So to me, a little pricey, but I had to have it. And I don't typically do that because I'm not really a big of a completionist or anything. I don't have to have the sleeve. I only really get excited about the sleeve if it's something I really want. But other than that, I mean, if I get the sleeve, it's great. If I don't, I don't really care too much. Now, I am super excited about this. This is not what you would traditionally see in one of the reviews that you've probably seen on YouTube. This is something that I bought, really wanting to decorate my space in here. So it's basically just a bunch of posters, but I kind of wanted to show everybody what I got. I've been waiting all week for this. I'm so freaking excited. Alright, and of course it's got a ton of peanuts on it, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw them on the floor and pick them up after. Actually, maybe I might not have to do that. Let's see how they package this. So it looks like they're all basically in one big package. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that over here. Oh yeah. So these are pretty cool because they come in these little protective sleeves. So in the past, when I bought posters, I've had to go out and buy the frames. This particular seller on eBay, he basically puts them in these little protective sleeves. So depending on how they look, I might just put them up on the wall in the sleeves. I've always wanted to put them in frames because I feel like they protect them, and if I ever move in the future, you know, I don't want to have little tack holes on my posters and everything. I want to have them framed and be able to keep them forever. So let's take a look at how these are packaged, and that'll kind of determine how I'm going to mount these things on the wall. Oh yeah, this is pretty sweet. So I don't know the order these are in, and some of them that I got are from collections of movies from that I various movies that I like. So the first one is the 2009 remake of Friday the 13th. So it's all these are 11 by 17. I like the small size because you can put a lot more of them on the wall. And I have a very small room in here, so there's not that much room, too much space to put these things up. So I wanted to have them smaller to be able to fit more of them on the wall. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I was thinking it was supposed to have the actual, you know, words on it and everything. It's supposed to be the poster from the movie. So I'm gonna have to go look at the post and make sure that clarify that. But I think it was supposed to be the actual movie poster, not just a picture of the mask. But I could be wrong. Still pretty cool poster, though. Alright. Second poster that I bought, Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. I'm a big fan of this movie. I know there's a lot of people that don't like it because they say that, you know, at that point in the franchise, the eighth entry, you know, like they were losing wind a little bit and the movie wasn't very good, and you know, it was just a really sloppy movie. I mean, I personally dig it. I love this movie. I mean, it's got its flaws, but I would say it's the Friday the 13th movie that I've seen the most as a kid growing up. Anytime that I would watch them on TV, they would always play, you know, Part 1 through Part 8, the Paramount films, and it seemed like every time that I tuned into the channel to watch these when they would come on, this was the one that was always playing. I don't know why it worked out that way, but you know, I could never get into the movies when they were playing them on TV right when they would start with, you know, Part 1. It was always, they were always starting off with this one. So I have fond memories of this movie when I was a little kid. So then we got Friday the 13th, Part 7. It looks like they put them in order too, which is pretty cool. Part 7, The New Blood. Again, this is a pretty, I know I got a little bit of glare, but it's a pretty cool poster. Honestly, I mean, I know this is the introduction of Kane Hodder as Jason. He's pretty much loved as one of the, you know, the best actors to play Jason. I love Kane Hodder. I love his portrayal of Jason, but I'm not too much of a fan of this movie. I'll just put it this way. Out of the Paramount 8, this is probably the one that I watched the least. I just feel like the acting's kind of shit in the movie. Kane Hodder's portrayal of Jason is kind of what carries the movie for me. I'm not to say that I don't like it, because I do like it. It's just not one that I watch as frequently as the others. And then we got Part 6, Jason Lives. This one to me is kind of like the middle of the road movie. I like it, but it's not the best. It's kind of like, meh. I mean, I liked it a lot more as a kid growing up. Like I said earlier with Jason Takes Manhattan. Jason Takes Manhattan and this one probably were played the most when I would watch them on TV. I wasn't really old enough at the time to go to the video store and rent these things, so I kind of had to basically hope that they were on TV to be able to watch them. And this one was one of the ones that came on more frequently, and it seemed to be more funnier back then, but some of the jokes and stuff in the movie kind of got old over time. I think it's a great movie. The acting's great. The characters are great. Like I said, I love all the Friday the 13th movies. I dislike some more than others. Friday the 13th Part 2. I dig this movie a lot. This is one of my favorite. It's not my favorite, but it's one of my favorite. I mean, it's basically almost the same thing as Friday the 13th Part 1. They improved a little bit with the budget and everything, and they did some stuff. Got a little bit more creative with the kills than Part 1. It's the first time that we get to see Jason. He's got the potato sack on his head. I just think it's a really cool movie. It's not my favorite, but it's one of my favorite. And Friday the 13th, 1980, the original. I love this movie. This is in my top Friday the 13th movies. It's not my favorite, but just like Part 2, I love this one to death. I basically, you know, I just want to say, like, the first 4 Friday the 13th movies, I feel like they could be their own separate thing. And then when Jason became Zombie Jason, it was this whole separate entity on its own. It was like its own. You could almost split them into two parts of the franchise. And I think the first 4 movies, to me, kind of like they stand on their own. Like if I were going to watch a marathon of Friday the 13th movies, I would watch Part 1 through 4, and then I would watch, 5 through 8 of the Paramount movies another night. I'm satisfied when I watch the first 4. I don't feel like I have to continue and watch the other ones. That's just my opinion. So then we got Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3D. I like this movie as well. It's a great movie. I love the fact that they threw in the 3D in there. I wish they would actually redo, make an actual true 3D version of this movie, because I get headaches from watching it when I'm using the little 3D glasses they put with it. But yeah, I love this movie. I don't think the characters are that great in this movie, but the kills are badass in this movie. It's got some of my favorite kills in this movie. But yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I like it overall. And then now here we get to my favorite. And I'm sure this is the favorite on a lot of people's favorites of the Friday the 13th franchise. And that is Friday the 13th, the final chapter. This movie, to me, this is the one that I reach for the most. This is the one that I want to watch. I mean, I've seen this movie a million times. I could watch this today, and then a month later, I could pull it out, and it's like a brand new movie to me. It's like I see new things in this movie that I've never seen before every time I watch it. And I don't know what it is, but it's just an awesome film. I mean, it's like the perfect culmination of a slasher movie for me. It's got all the best elements in it. Everything you could want in a slasher movie, this movie's got. So this is my favorite of all the Friday the 13ths. To me, this is the highest point in the franchise. And then we got Part 5. Another great Friday the 13th movie. I know a lot of people give this some hate because Jason's not in this movie. He's in some flashbacks or whatever, but it's actually Roy doing the killings in this movie. He's basically the father. He's a paramedic, and he's the father of one of the kids that gets picked on at the camp in the movie. And he witnesses. He doesn't witness, but his son gets killed, and he ends up showing up to the crime scene, and then realizes that his orphan son was the one that gets killed, and he goes crazy and starts killing people in Jason's MO. So, cool movie. Not one of my favorites, but I think it gets a lot more hate than it really deserves. This movie is so much better than people give it credit for. So, I love this movie. Alright, so let me kind of skip through some of these so I can get the Fridays out of here, because I've got some other Friday ones in here that I want to go over first. Let's see. This is the one Friday film that people seem to absolutely hate. And I gotta say, I have to agree with them. I hate this movie. Like, it's painful to watch this movie. I watch it just for the simple fact that it's a Jason movie. But It's an abomination in my eyes. I'm sorry, but there's on its own, it's a decent film, but it's just flawed. It's like 80% flawed for me. I mean, it's painful to watch this movie. Jason Goes to Hell. Honestly, I'd be okay with this movie going to hell. I'm just not a fan of it. There's some good slasher elements into it, some good kills, but the director of this movie, I mean, it's a crying shame. I don't know what else to say with this movie. I'll watch it if I'm doing a marathon. Excuse me, if I'm doing a marathon and I'm just rewatching all the films, I'll watch this one, but I'm not a fan of it. Oh, so I just found out they gave me a freebie. So that poster in the beginning that I thought that they messed up on, they gave me a free poster, which is pretty cool. I'm actually really happy now. So this is the one that I ordered. The 2009 Friday the 13th official poster. Now, I love this movie. Don't get me wrong. There's some flaws in this movie. I don't think it's the best movie, but I think they did a pretty decent job. I don't think it deserves as much hate as people think it does. I think the beginning of the movie was really strong, and it just kind of lingered on through as the movie progressed. And some of the stuff was a little bit unnecessary. But I think overall, I dig it. I mean, I like the fact that Jason runs in this movie. I think he's more menacing. I just like the overall look of Derek Mears' portrayal of Jason. The key characters, I mean, that's probably to me the weakness of the movie is they find these, I don't know where they find these actors and why they think these actors are good, but they find these like fake, snobby looking rich kids to play these the parts of these characters. And I think that's kind of like a thing of modern films. It was like kind of like the late 90s where I noticed that trend of them casting these like rich snobby kids in movies. I think when I think of these kids, I think of like MTV in that era, and everything was all flashy, and they had to have these really beautiful people to play these roles. And if you look at some of the older movies, for the most part, the actors look like your average people that you would meet out in public. They're not these, pin-up models and these Abercrombie and Fitch people. I mean, that's the only weakness of this movie is I feel like the actors are kind of fake. I think the story is great. I'm not a big fan of the whole underground tunneling thing. I think it's cool that they explained that, but I think it's kind of like it takes away from the other films in the franchise. Like that was something that I felt like we weren't supposed to know. It was just one of those things like if Jason gets around, he can move around. And then when they kind of explained it in the movie, I was like, I don't know if that's really a good thing. Like I said, I love this movie for what it is. I was really hoping they were going to make a sequel to this because I feel like they could have corrected some of the issues of the first one if they would have made a sequel. And I remember that at one point they were talking about like if they were going to make a sequel to this, it was going to be like Jason during the wintertime and there was going to be some snow kills and stuff like that. And I thought that was really cool because it fits the whole hockey mask thing. And I just feel like it would just be cool to see Jason killed during the wintertime. To me, that would have been awesome. So, yeah, they never ended up doing that, but we'll see what happens with the franchise after this one. But yeah, I'm a fan of this film. It's not my favorite, but it's not anywhere near the end as far as how I would rate things. And at some point, I probably would like to do a Friday the 13th ranking. Some of them are really, really close, but this one is definitely not at the bottom of my list. The only other one that I haven't reviewed yet, and that's Jason X. I've got mixed feelings for this movie. I like the movie basically for the first half. And then after that, it's complete shit. As soon as they made Uber Jason in this movie, I was like, it's okay, but I don't think Jason ever should have been brought into space. But like I said, I was okay with it for the first half. I was like, all right, well, we'll see where this is going to, see what happens. I mean, it's a Jason movie. I mean, you're not there to watch an Emmy winning, an Oscar worthy movie. They're Friday the 13th Jason movies. So I mean, it's a good. I was just looking for a good popcorn flick, and then it just never really delivers. I mean, they got one cool flashback scene at the end of the movie where basically Jason's he's tricked into thinking that he's in 1980 Camp Crystal Lake again, and they make kind of like a joke out of it and everything, and they have the camp counselors and they're all getting high and drunk and they're laying in sleeping bags and everything. That was pretty cool. But other than that, the first half of the movie before he comes Uber Jason, I kind of dug it, but then after that it was like, nah. It's a good watchable popcorn flick if I've gotten bored with the other ones and I want something different, I'll throw this one in. But I don't tend to watch this one very often. It's on the lower end of my ranking. Let's put it that way. All right. So I think, if I'm correct, that is all the Friday the 13th posters. I got a lot of posters to review. All right. So then it almost goes hand in hand. I only got one of this franchise, and that is the original Halloween. This movie, I can't say enough. Halloween is my favorite slasher franchise. It is the original Halloween is by far my favorite slasher movie. I'm sure it's the favorite of a lot of people, but it's the one that started it all. I can't really say too much about it that hasn't already been said before. This movie's awesome, and I really wanted to get the first one. I love this artwork on here. I think it's the best artwork I've seen for this. So this is awesome. I don't know if I really have the wall space. I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna fit all this, because I want to have the Friday the 13th posters all in one spot, and then I want to have the Halloween franchise posters in another spot. So I'm gonna have to do some rearranging to be able to get the other Halloween posters. But I had to have the first one. I think overall, for me at least, the Friday the 13th franchise is the stronger franchise. But Halloween is out of the two franchises, Halloween's got one of the best films. It's got the better film in it. To me, Halloween beats any of the Friday the 13th movies, hands down. And that's just my opinion. But I like them. I like them both a lot. But this movie beats any of the Friday the 13th films in my opinion. It even beats the final chapter. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and I got some different stuff here. Trying to keep it all kind of in order. All right. Another one of my favorites. Slumber Party Massacre. You just cannot beat the artwork on this thing. I mean, this is originally what drove me to this film, was the artwork. I mean, what can I say? You got really attractive women on here. You got a really cool, design for the font. Slumber Party Massacre. It's kind of like got that like really gritty, bloody looking massacre at the bottom of it that says up here, "Close your eyes for a second and sleep forever." And a lot of people probably know this, but basically they designed this cover to be kind of like a guy representing, his genitalia kind of leaning over the women, and it's kind of like exploitative a little bit. But yeah, I really dig this movie a lot. This is a movie that I reach for a lot when I'm just really wanting to just chill out on a Friday night, drink a cold one. I love this movie. I love the sequels as well. But this one's the best one out of the franchise, so I had to have it. All right. Another one of my favorites, My Bloody Valentine. I freaking love this movie. This movie, it's kind of weird because it's one of the movies that I just never saw as a kid growing up. I was always watching the movies as they were coming on TV and everything. And then when I was old enough, my parents would bring me to the video store, and they kind of let me loose. And I can't even really remember what age I was, but they were just like, well, I guess it's time to just kind of let him, watch whatever he wants. He's old enough at this point. I think I was probably like 12 or 13 or whatever, and they just kind of let me loose. And I just do not remember watching this movie as a kid growing up. It's one of the movies that kind of eluded me. I've seen all the other ones that I've got in the stack that I've reviewed, but this one I didn't see until I was adult. And this one is like one of my favorite. So I'm kind of sad in a way that I don't have the childhood memories with this film that I do with the other ones. But at the same time, it was like a hidden gem for me, and I just found it as an adult, and I dig this movie so much. It's an almost flawless slasher movie. So if you haven't seen this movie, you need to go check it out. My Bloody Valentine. All right. Now, two really awesome movies. I mean, I'm sure these are loved by everybody. Dawn of the Dead, the George Romero version of it, the original Dawn of the Dead. Love this movie. I love zombie movies. I mean, there's just really nothing you can say you can say that hasn't been said about this movie. It's freaking awesome. Just gory as hell. Tom Savini's special effects in this movie are ridiculous. I love the campiness in the mall, and them surviving and basically kind of like boarding up the mall, so to speak, kind of like protecting themselves in there. Yeah, I love this movie so much, and I just had to have the poster. And then the sequel, Day of the Dead. George Romero. There's been a couple remakes of this that have been really crap, but it's kind of hard for me because I'm a fan of this one, and I'm a fan of the Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead, which I didn't buy the poster for Night of the Living Dead. But honestly, I might get some heat for this, but Day of the Dead is my favorite out of the three of them. It used to be Dawn of the Dead, like when I was growing up and everything. I used to love Dawn of the Dead. And it wasn't until like a few years ago when I started to really watch this film over and over and over again that I was like, you know what? I see the vision that George Romero was going with this film. I see it for what it is. And I really started to appreciate it, and I really started to dig it. Yeah, I love this poster art. I love the fact that it's got like the night, the dawn, and then the day. So you kind of seeing the progression of it and everything. I love this film so much. I love the really funny scenes with when they're with Bub and all the cursing and all the crazy stuff that happens in this movie. It's awesome. And then the goriness in this film, Tom Savini's gore in this film is ridiculous. Okay, he really hit his stride in this movie, and you can tell in the gory scenes at the end of the movie. I mean, I'm sure everybody's seen this, but if you haven't, go check it out. All right, and last but not least, I got two posters, and they're Stephen King posters, and these were two of my favorite Stephen King movies. Well, they are my two favorite Stephen King movies. My favorite Stephen King movies of all time. Let's put it that way. The first one, and this is the first one that he actually directed, and that's Maximum Overdrive. This movie is freaking awesome. Okay. A lot of fans give this film heat. I don't know why. It's an amazing film. I just remember as a kid, I rented this thing religiously. I mean, every time I went to the video store, and they would have these like 5 movies for $5 for 5-day deals, and this was one that I always rented every single time I went in there. I love this movie. I could watch it a million times. In fact, I own it on Blu-ray. It's one of those like made-to-order Blu-rays. I got it off eBay for I think like $30. It's not released by official company, but there's a company on eBay that basically has purchased the rights to make the movie, and it's like made by order. So I own that on Blu-ray. It's pretty cool. I wish they would make an official release of this movie and just load it up with special features, because I would totally buy it. But it's awesome. And then last but not least, this is my favorite out of the two of them, and that's Christine. this is another one that I rented religiously. I mean, there were times when I'd rent both of these together. I love this movie. I love the car. As a kid growing up, I was like, you know, someday I'm going to own this car. I'm going to own a 1958 Plymouth Fury. This car, it's crazy how he made a car a character. That's what really drew me to this movie, is the fact that the car itself is a character in this movie. It's crazy. And I love the campiness to this, and I love Arnie's character. I love the goons in the movie who are picking on Arnie, you know, and like beating him up and stuff like that. I like their characterization. I like the story overall. I love the John Carpenter music in this. I mean, it's one of his greatest soundtracks. It's got one of the greatest soundtracks of all the John Carpenter movies, in my opinion. To me, I like this soundtrack from John Carpenter better than Halloween's soundtrack. But I mean, I like Halloween better, but this one's got the cooler soundtrack, in my opinion. But yeah, I love this movie. And that's pretty much it, guys. These are all the posters I bought. That's my basically my mail day haul that I want to share with everybody. I hope you dig the video. I've got some other packages that are going to be coming later on in the week, and I'll be doing a review of those. Yeah, hope you enjoyed. Until next time, peace.